Assalamu alaikum to the thousands of Canadian Muslims watching today in your homes, on your TVs, on your phones, your computers. Eid Mubarak to all of you. My name is Ahmad Attia, and I'll be co-hosting this session today with Sister Aisha Khaja. Aisha is the host of Let the Quran Speak, where she has interviewed community leaders talking about topics of relevance to Islam in Canada and the wider world. Today I'm pleased to host Mac's Community Unity panel, and we have an amazing group of Muslim leaders representing organizations who are doing important work across Canada. Whether it's social justice and human rights, mental health, supporting the most vulnerable, corporate social responsibility leadership, refugee services, social services, education, women's services, or think tanks. We have organizations across the country helping Canadian Muslims in the services and needs that we have as a community. In the last census that the Canadian government did in 2011, there's slightly more than 1 million Canadians identified as Muslim, and that number has since grown. And approximately 30% of Canadian Muslims are native-born Canadians, highlighting a demographic shift of a new generation that has grown up in Canada's multicultural society. And with that, our community has grown from the many masjids across the country that support us spiritually, but other organizations that offer the much needed services to build a healthy Muslim community. MAC, as a national grassroots organization, believes in partnerships, believes in the power of partnerships. And our community must always support the efforts of leading organizations doing important work. And so today, through this panel, we hope to share with you the critical roles that some of these organizations are playing, especially in recent times. So let me introduce Sister Aisha Khaja. Let me pass it to you to help introduce our panelist. Sister Aisha Khaja.
I'd like to begin, just if you're just joining us, just to recap the organizations we have with us are Sakina Homes, being me, Paramount, Naseeha, National Council of Canadian Muslims, Islamic Relief, and Mac's Gala. So I'm going to turn it over to our guests, and let's begin, you already heard a little bit about what the organizations do. I want to jump in and ask each of the organizations, we're in a pandemic, and it's been a really, let's say, challenging and blessed Ramadan and Eid, despite the challenges. So I want to ask each of the organizations, how have you guys managed and coped and supported Muslims during Ramadan and Eid, particularly your own immediate community and the broader community?
As Sister Aisha explained, we're going to have each organization tell you today about the work they're doing, in particular under the COVID pandemic. And then we're going to have each one explain to us how the community can support them and get involved in the important work that they're doing. And we want to thank our community. We've seen, as the Muslim Association of Canada, that especially under the pandemic, the generosity of the community has not stopped. In fact, it has grown. That even with the economic burden and pressures on Muslim families, they've not let their organizations, they've not let the important relief work, both domestically and internationally, to go without support. And they've generously been giving, donations have been coming into local mosques. And this is the beauty of the Canadian Muslim community. It never stops giving. And that's why organizations who are not just mosques need that continued support. And so we hope that that today you'll learn a bit about each organization and the work they're doing. Let's now go to Mohamed Fakih to talk a little bit about his role and the important work he's been doing across the country.
Eid Mubarak, everyone. Thank you very much. Well, I don't know why I'm here, because all the people participating, they do amazing work. And when I got the great opportunity to support them, if I can and I'm able, I'll do my best. But my work is very little comparing to all of you, mashallah. A lot of heroes in this community leading us and doing the great work. I mean, I think I'm very proud to be an example maybe for our children more than anything else, that us Muslim, as immigrant, could be successful. And it's been always part of the DNA of Paramount, but most importantly for me personally, I always wanted to show that you could be successful and doing well in business at the same time while you're compassionate and worrying about your community. And these two are not at odds together. But more than that, you want me to talk about myself? I'm the shawarma guy. You all know me that way. And that's what I do. I should have catered this event instead of me being a speaker at this event. But mashallah, I'm very proud of everything. If I look backward 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we're doing a great job. It's never enough, like every other work, but we have gone very far. And I always, as you all know me, I'm very positive. I smile 22 hours a day until my jaw hurts, but I still smile the other 2 hours while I'm sleeping. But we've done a great job, all of us as a community. I'm very proud of the community. I think our children will have a better community to learn from. And whatever I can do to help all these great organizations more than anything else, I will always be there. So thank you. I'll keep it less than 2 minutes because I think I want to give it to the people who do the real work, not me.
Thank you, Mohamed. Paramount and you, in your leadership, you're doing important things across the country. Let's next go to NCCM and welcome Mostafa Farouk to speak about the important work their advocacy is doing for Canada. Mostafa, I know that NCCM is doing some fabulous work in its leadership and its voice for the Canadian Muslim community, whether it's Bill 21 or other issues that impact Muslims across the country. NCCM has had the courage and never hesitated to speak up and to be the leader that our community needs. And so we're hoping that today you can share a little bit of the details about how you do it, who's doing it, and how the community can continue to support you in doing what you do. And I know you're the most recent executive director that's just joined, and so I want to welcome you here today. For the Canadian Muslims across the country who don't know you, you're the next generation of NCCM, and you've been doing some fabulous work in your leadership, building a team in Toronto and Ottawa, Quebec, and right across the country, expanding the reach of NCCM so that there's no place in the country that is left alone without a voice. Your leadership, your legal experience has been phenomenal, bringing it to NCCM, and we're all very excited to have you as a community leader in the country.
Hello. Assalamualaikum.
Mostafa,
Sorry,
you and I have worked together on a number of projects, and I think that, mashallah, your work in the Supreme Court, your work in government has really prepared you, especially as an executive, to naturally fill this role for NCCM. And I'm also excited about the team that you're building of young Muslim Canadians who believe in human rights and believe in our Constitution. And so with that, Mostafa, please welcome. We welcome you today too.
So it's so nice to be joining all of you. Alhamdulillah, we at the National Council of Canadian Muslims have been doing what you've asked us all to do, which is to stand up for your civil liberties and to fight back against Islamophobia. Obviously, we're not doing that alone. And we're so grateful to the work of the Muslim Association of Canada, MAC, and to all the organizations that are on this call and to those who are not on this call for all the work that they do. During the pandemic, we've been doing a lot in terms of advocating for the charitable sector. We've been doing a lot in terms of, making sure that we're protecting the civil liberties of Canadian Muslims, engaging on the questions like the Adhan controversy, etc. But again, this is a day of celebration. This is a day of coming together. And thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you very much for that, Mostafa. That was really helpful, and so grateful for NCCM and all the amazing work that you guys are doing. Pandemic or not, I know your work never stops. I'd like to now pass it over to Sister Zena Choudhury to talk a little bit about how have you managed with the pandemic and Ramadan and Eid for those who are I would say one of the most vulnerable in our community.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. If not, just let me know, inshallah. Sakina Homes has, as you guys have all known through the news, that domestic violence calls have risen during COVID, and subhanAllah, we see yearly during Ramadan that happens as well. So, we really ramped up. We hired extra staff to come on, do counseling, do casework. We started a text line as well where people can text in if they have issues and they're in the home with an abuser and they can't talk on the phone, that they can text in for any emergencies. We We opened a new shelter in Brampton. We're opening a new shelter in Ottawa now. SubhanAllah, our numbers have risen, but the generosity of the community has also risen. We've had restaurants reach out to us, including Paramount, to help with food in Ramadan, with food packets. We started a mobile food bank, and in that we've seen the help from MAC and so many other community partners to make this a reality. And helping, in Ramadan alone, we helped over 2,500 people across the GTA alone, and that's not even including the rest of Canada. So subhanAllah, the community this is a project for the community, by the community, and we're so grateful to have the support of everybody here, everybody listening in, especially MAC, who have been our supporters from day one. So mashallah, jazakallah khair. We, even now at around 2 o'clock, I have to run because I have to go pick up some food for the shelter for the Eid lunch. So, a big, jazakallah khair to everybody who supported us in any which way. We really appreciate it.
Jazakallah khairan, Zena, that was amazing. And I think, even with this community panel, just that goes to show the amount of unity we have just within these organizations. So amazing. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to now turn it over to Sister Summayah Poonah from Naseeha Mental Health to talk about, how you guys have been supporting your community in light of Ramadan and Eid. So yeah, over to you, Summayah.
So thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I'm humbled to be in the company of such heroes of our community. MashaAllah, all of you inspire me every day. So what we have been doing is, due to the call volume increase, we've added more volunteers to our lines. We've also found an influx of text, which Sister Zena also mentioned. We've amped up our virtual programming. So we've done that via live webinars, circles for our university and post-secondary students, just to have an opportunity to kind of voice whatever issues they might be kind of grappling with. We've really worked on curating sophisticated mental health tips that can support anyone who has access to any electronic devices. And that's pretty much been the scope of our work so far. And hopefully we've been able to kind of support people in whatever challenges they might be facing.
That's amazing, Summayah. I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Now I'd like to pass it over to Sister Sarah Khan to talk about a little bit about Mac's Gala and how you guys have been managing with Ramadan and Eid and supporting the community. Sister Sarah, how about while we wait for you and on Mac's end to just figure out the technical difficulties, in the meantime, let's move to Brother Zaid AlRawni, and then Sister Sarah, I'll get back to you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Alhamdulillah. Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah. Yes. My big problem right now is I've eaten too much. So it's added to your drama. Alhamdulillah. We're so proud to be part of this kind of this call today and this setup. MashaAllah. It's such a weird, unique Eid for so many people. Kind of we're all kind of in our man caves and lady caves and house caves and whatever kind of other caves we have. But we're all still trying to apply ourselves and be a service to people who need our support, both locally. I mean, so inspired by Summayah and Sakina Homes and all the other kind of people who are doing some immense work. And Mohamed, mashallah, is trying to be modest by saying the shawarma guy supports almost all the little initiatives that we have going on, mashallah. Mostafa, NCCM. So really, really inspired to be part of this and to listen to this. Islamic Relief, our focus is, of course, working globally for some of the worst affected humans in the world, not just from COVID, but from wars, from disasters, from diseases, and trying to make ourselves useful in that context, but also here in Canada, supporting some of the initiatives that we have, that we've heard about today, but also some of the initiatives, food banks across Canada. We have, we're supporting food banks from Halifax all the way to BC and everything in between. And all that's possible because we've always had the support of MAC and MAC members. So on behalf of our team and the people we serve, Jazakumullah khair for everything you do and all the wonderful support you've given the work we're doing for the last decade and a half. Barakallahu feek.
Jazakallah khairan, brother Zaid, and I think right back at you for the phenomenal work that Islamic Relief has been doing. I think we've all seen the amazing work you guys have been doing online in terms of supporting our local and international community. So thank you for that, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you for the amazing work that you're doing. Okay, Sister Sarah, let's see. We'll have you back on now to talk about Max. So I'm really sorry, guys. I think we're just having some technical difficulties, but that's what the pandemic and COVID is all about. So inshallah, I'm going to pass it over to Brother Ahmad. He'll keep the program going, and then we'll work out the technical difficulties on our end, and inshallah. And really appreciate everyone's patience. I know I still see good numbers, so hopefully everyone's benefiting from this conversation. So Brother Ahmad, over to you to share the next question with our panelists, inshallah.
Thank you, Sister Aisha, for getting us through those questions. In Eid al-Adha, we're going to get this right. It's the first time we do this, but it's really exciting. And it's really exciting for our children and for our community to see us coming together virtually and digitally as we celebrate Eid. Canadian Muslims are blessed and fortunate to live in Canada. We have a great country, but we also have a rich landscape of Muslim organizations doing innovative and important work. But all of this cannot be done without the support of our community. And so I want to take a quick opportunity to let some of the organizations who are with us today to share how Canadian Muslims can get involved and support the important work that you do. Because without the support of our community, we cannot stand. We need to feed the organizations, whether it be with volunteers, whether it be financially, whether it be with expertise, to make sure that they can continue to operate and they can continue to serve our community. And so let us begin with going to, let's go back to Zaid AlRawni from Islamic Relief to tell us how the community can help you in the pandemic, but also at any time in the work that you do. Oh, it looks like we lost Zaid. Then I know we have Brother Mohamed Fakih. You're doing a lot of work with the refugee community and other areas, fighting Islamophobia, other important work. What advice do you have for young Muslim Canadians in looking at the example that you're giving them to also be leaders in our community? Please share some thoughts with us, Mohamed Fakih.
For sure. Can I do a voice check? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, that's good. Well, I think above and beyond donations, what's important, number one, is to be very proud of who we are and what we stand for. And stop to the idea of trying other things to become more Canadian, but being ourselves, because more and prouder and less we become silent in front of hate and in front of changing Bilal to Bill and Mike to Mo, less issues we will face, because everything in life like a muscle, and we need to train other community to accept us how we are. And in our home, we'll train our children to be proud, to be who they are, without the effort of changing themselves to fit in what they call to become more Canadian. It is to be more Canadian is to be yourself, because Canada accepts us as we are. So that's very important. Number two is standing up and speaking out, right? That's very important. Three, collaborating, and instead of keep adding organizations and events, collaborate and use the money in a smarter way. Last part, and I think is very important, lobbying, and I said that before, but we could be more united, collaborate more, repeat less. Every organization could become bigger, grow within, instead of opening another organization or starting another one, right? We collaborate with Islamic Relief, with MAC, with NISA, we collaborate with all of you. You teach us and you lead the way, and you're training actually non-Muslim in my organization, right? And so when I asked Sharon, what do you advocate for? And she's our head of marketing. She said, women's rights. And I said, pick an organization. She went and she found out NISA, and she came to me with NISA, that was the best news for me. And here I am, a Muslim, trying to act like I'm opening up to my rest of the team, that they suggest other organization, and NISA was my choice. And then she went to the search and she said, no, we don't have to split our support will do Nisa, all of us, instead of doing half and half. And that's great. So you actually, we're doing that. And I always say we become what we celebrate. We do become what we celebrate. And we need to celebrate more kindness, more success, more collaboration, more working together, and celebrate our younger people and show them a great example. So hopefully we don't have to repeat this again all along. I still see a lot of kids that they're not as proud. I see a lot of people that they think when they're attacked. And Mostafa, we collaborate, and I'm very close to Mostafa and his team as well. And all of you you do amazing job. A lot of us, we hear racism, we see racism. We think our children, that because they're born here, they're not faced with racism, but they are. And our silence is a wink. We're sending a message, we're okay with what's happening. So we need to stand up more, speak out more, right? That's what I recommend.
Thank you, Mohamed. Thank you for the sacrifices and leadership that you make for the Muslim community in Canada. Women's shelters, something that many Muslim Canadians
never exposed to. Many Muslim Canadians have never walked into one, or maybe have never had a family member who's needed it. So, Sister Zena, why don't you just share with us, with the important work that you're doing, how can Muslim Canadians help you do more for the most vulnerable in our community?
The community has been extremely generous, I think, during this time of COVID, and we can't do this without them. We're a project for the community, by the community. I think the biggest thing is reaching out and talking about the issues that are around us, and not thinking that because something is a taboo topic, or something else that don't talk about it, sweep it under the rug. These are issues that we are facing as a Canadian community, as a Muslim community, and these are things that we need to face. In our line directly, we deal with domestic violence and poverty. But I think definitely collaboration, like Brother Mohamed said, is such a big thing. For us, we started distributing food to our old residents, these single moms with kids, when COVID hit. And then Ask Foundation came and said, listen, we can help you guys. We can mobilize it and actually have volunteers deliver across the GTA. And subhanAllah, with that collaboration, we delivered over 40,000 pounds of food in just a month. So for, what Brother Mohamed said is absolutely true. When we collaborate and we work together, we can have such a big impact. So I would say reach out, find organizations that align with what you want to do, and reach out to them, help them, because everyone can use volunteers, everyone can use that extra helping hand. And even if it's just about doing outreach and telling people that these organizations exist, that can help a lot too, because you never know who's in need of the help. You never know if your neighbor or the person that you pray next to or the person that you work with is in need of the help of these services. So just spread the word, inshallah, and that is doing a huge thing itself.
Thank you, Sister Zena, for those thoughts.
Inshallah, the community does reach out and support. I want to apologize to Sister Sarah Khan from Max Gala. They're doing amazing work, but we had some technical difficulties. And Sister Summayah Poonah, thank you for representing Naseeha. We're running out of time, so I just want to remind the Muslim community, thousands of people are watching. It's an important organization. So many Muslims call in to that hotline for support. Youth, adults, children. It's needed, and they're doing amazing work. Please go to their website to donate and support them. And if you have any experience in mental health, join their team. And support Islamic Relief, support NCCM with your donations. I want to thank each of you for joining today with us. And I want to thank Sister Aisha for joining me as my co-host. We need to encourage Muslims, and we need to educate them about the work that we're doing across the country. MAC is always here to support any organization who's doing important work. Let us join hands together to do more for our community. So thank you for joining. Thank you for the many Muslims who have joined this community panel.